Morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of The Sweat. So coming up, congratulations to UConn. Where do the Huskies rank now among all-time blue blood programs? Should they be in the conversation? Absolutely. Plus, Masters bets, because Tiger Woods, should you bet him? I don't think so, but Jeff Ulrich will maybe give you a reason to bet him.
Probably not. Probably not. Also, it is Tuesday. Jared Carrabis is in studio for the
takeoff.
True. It was his birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to him. We're going to be talking WrestleMania 2, talking MLB best bets. We're going to talk NHL. We'll talk NBA. That's all coming up on The Sweat.
A Tuesday tradition unlike any other. DraftKings podcast host Jared Carrabis in studio for Das Takeoff. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting times. Yeah.
Your mom gave birth to you at Fenway. Life has come full circle.
Born in a ballpark, as they say.
Yeah, you certainly were. What was your favorite part about your birthday yesterday? Come on.
When I went to bed after a long day.
That's exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just
You
wanted
sad man.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. I mean, the Red Sox lost, so that was not fun.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is because you were on Nesson last night too. So every time you're on the Nesson broadcast, it tends to be the top of the inning, and then the other team just seems to get in this habit of hitting piss missiles.
Twice. I've been in the booth twice, and both times the other team has hit 2 home runs.
Oh no. Okay.
So I've got 2 innings under my belt and 4 home runs allowed.
So perhaps we should stop putting you in the booth.
Maybe put me in the booth in the bottom half.
Okay.
That's
all right.
what we want.
We
the Red
don't
Sox to be
know
doing
how
that.
it works. Like maybe the Red Sox start hitting home runs. I don't know.
Hey, we'll try and work our juju magic on
Please,
that. Okay, so WrestleMania 39
Yes, let's go positive.
in the books.
Yeah.
Some people are saying, it'll go down as one of the best ever. What was the most memorable part for you?
Roman Reigns
Acknowledge him.
retaining. The tribal chief, the head of the table. He is the straw that stirs the drink. He is the undisputed. Almost 1,000 days. We're almost at 1,000 days. WWE World Heavyweight Champion. All the little fanboys out there, they're like, oh,
Wow.
Cody, we want Cody to win. Yeah, all right, yeah. 1, 2, 3, Roman Reigns, and still WWE Undisputed Heavyweight Champion.
What about Snoop Dogg?
Snoop Dogg actually had an amazing moment because Shane McMahon blew out his quad.
Yeah, when he jumped onto that table.
30 seconds into the match.
Just something his dad did too, like
Twice.
years ago, right?
He's like, the company's getting sold.
His dad slid into the ring, blew out a quad, tried to get up, and then blew out the other one and just sat in the ring like a child, like yelling at people. He was sitting, it was ridiculous. So Shane McMahon blows out his quad, and Snoop pulls an audible there and delivers a Snoop elbow and to the Miz and gets the victory. It was actually pretty great. Like, good for him for actually having the ring awareness to just be like, that dude's quad is done.
Yeah, like I don't think he's faking it.
No,
that looks
no.
real.
Yeah, you would have known if you showed up to the WrestleMania party, but we were Billy was there.
Oh,
Billy was there.
No,
Billy
don't
came to the
do
party.
this.
Oh, yeah.
Classic
Don't-
Emerson.
Yeah, we
I'll
know.
be there. I'll be there. I'm so
I never
excited.
fully committed. I don't think I ever fully got like a
No,
direct
no,
invitation.
no,
And then
no,
I
you
find
did.
out he's texting or messaging with my wife on Instagram, and they're both just talking absolute crap.
Because we
about
can
me.
relate. We can relate about, hey,
guys
Emerson, you
can
going to be there?
relate.
It's like, oh, yeah, no, you're definitely going to be there. Nope, didn't show up. But Billy was there, and we had the debate about whether or not the injury was real. I didn't know until after the show was over. Blew out his quad. I don't have a quad to blow out. I'm working on it, though.
Yeah, I heard
20
you and
yeah.
David Ortiz had a nice conversation about quads.
Yeah, we did.
Really good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, baseball. Speaking of baseball,
Baseball. Mhm.
best
Really
thing you
good
saw
conversation.
first week of the season, or the first 4 or 5 days, however long we're in now.
Ooh, I mean, so I'll be honest. You know that I've been at every single game.
We do. We've been talking about that.
Yeah,
It's a
I've
grind.
been. It's been a lot. I've been at every single game. I'm going again tonight.
You're bringing Emerson, right?
Yeah, Emerson's coming to the game.
I
yeah.
could be your plan B or
Wow.
plan C. I'm just
Yeah.
a mile down the road.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to the game tonight, but there's been a big debate about the lights, the LED lights at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
Do we like them? Do we hate them? Are they a distraction? I love them. But here's the thing. If you watch the game at home on TV, everyone's like, well, it looks horrible on TV.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I've been at the game.
I've been
So
at the
I just
game.
say, yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
love the lights. I think the lights has been a nice little, it's made Dan Chauncey mad. Dan Chauncey's always mad. Dan Chauncey writing a column like, oh, our celebration's going too far.
I saw that this morning. I'm like, this guy is just never.
It's like, what am I going to be
Never
mad
happy.
about this morning?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, look, a cloud.
Yeah.
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 That's Dan.
How painful was it watching Xander hit a home run with Don Orsillo on the call?
So I thought about this question a lot this morning when I was in the drive-thru getting my coffee. And,
great.
because you were going to ask me, what's worse? Is it Don or is it the Xander home run? And it's both. It's like your girlfriend is cheating on you. That's horrible. But then she's cheating on you with your best friend. And you're like, these are both horrible. This is one horrible situation. And I love Don Orsillo. I love Xander Bogaerts. I'm happy that they're together. I'm sad that it's not on my baseball
When
team.
he dropped that X marks the spot, I said, damn it, Don.
How is he not using San Diego? That is a great thing. That's a great call.
Has-
That's a great nickname.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. He's a very talented play-by-play guy. You
Yeah.
know that. You guys are friends.
Maybe
We
he's
are.
got
work
that
it
in his
in.
back pocket.
He'll work
He's
it
just
in.
Waiting,
I've been tweeting it.
waiting for the moment.
Okay, well,
Trying to workshop it here.
We'll eventually just
Go.
pluck that and
Yeah, why not?
make it his own.
Don, you can use that. If
All
you
right,
like.
well, Sox took 2 of 3 from the Orioles, scoring 27 runs.
Sexy.
I mean, what impressed you the most about this lineup, and how do we feel about the pitching? It's going to improve here. It's going to.
Is
We're
it?
just going to be on the way up. Maybe a little bit.
I think, you know what? It can't get worse, right?
No, it can't.
We are on the
It
floor.
can.
We're
It
on
can
the
get
floor.
worse, too.
We're on the floor.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
The bar is on the floor.
I would say at least with Corey Kluber, that's a guy that doesn't walk a ton of guys, so I think he could get better. Chris Sale said that was the most embarrassed that he's ever been
Bro,
on
that was
a
rough.
baseball field before.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him out there because I know how much it meant to him to come back from the injury and have a normal season. It's been a long time. Cutter Crawford did not look good last night. I was getting blamed for the loss because I was in the booth for 2 home runs. He gave up 5 other runs. If he was just absolutely cruising, and then I was in the booth and he gives up 2 home runs, all right, fine, blame me. But he had already given up 5 runs to that point. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that they're going to get better. I don't think they're going to get exponentially better. When Brian Bayo comes back, then you're going to inject a little bit of life into this rotation. I do think that the offense is the real deal. I don't think that they're going to be averaging 9 runs a game the whole season, but they can swing it. I think it's a nice, lengthy lineup. But, yeah, the pitching, I think, right now is historically bad. I think I saw the graphic last night
Yeah,
that
dude.
it's like the most runs allowed through X amount of games to start the season. They're
Yeah,
like
I
in
mean-
the top 5 in Red Sox history.
You're even tweeting last night like the team could be 4-0 right now if their pitching was just half decent.
Half decent. Even if they were just half decent. But then, you could revert back to, well, if Ryan McKenna makes that catch in left field, then
Yep.
there's no walk-off on Saturday. To that, I say, baseball's hard. Sometimes you catch a ball, sometimes you don't. That's just baseball.
Okay.
Everyone knows that.
I mean, like this explosion of offense here, how much of it has to do with some of these new rules that
Yeah.
we've seen implemented for this first week?
Some of it, yeah. I mean, I've definitely noticed a lot of balls on the ground from left-handed hitters that are getting through that wouldn't have previously. Balls up the middle as well. Like when you're completely shifted over to the right side, there's some base hits that are going up the middle that would have been right at someone a year ago. I think it's helped a little bit, but at the end of the day, I mean, you look at a guy like Adam Duvall, like he's hitting the baseball over and off
Fantastic.
of the green monster. Like you can't put a guy there. So I don't really think that Duvall has benefited much from the shift other than it is what it is. Yeah.
You like what you're seeing though, early results? Like pitch clock
Yeah, no, I love the pitch clock. I think
and like stolen bases, I believe, are up.
the Orioles were 10 for 10 against the Red Sox. Yep. Stolen
Working
bases.
out well.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah,
Adley
good.
had one of the worst steal attempts
Yeah.
I have ever seen.
Pretty bad.
Like flipped over.
Yeah, it was bad, but yeah, stolen bases are good, action's good.
Okay.
But yeah, I think if you're like sitting at Fenway just watching a game, which I've done every day.
Yep,
Yep.
we
I'm
know.
always gonna be there again tonight.
Yep, can't wait. We're gonna have a
yep,
good
it's
time.
gonna be fun. Yeah, I can't wait. I think you don't really notice the pitch clock. You really don't.
Okay.
You really don't. Like if you're just sitting there watching the game, it's not like something that you're like sweating in the corner where you're like, oh my God, like it got down to like 2 seconds. But like you don't even notice it. So.
Okay, well, do you have a hot take, or maybe just like we kind of talked about this? You don't have a hot take.
I have a hot take.
Oh, you do? It's been percolating, so you have one.
Yeah,
What do
I
you
got a
got?
hot take.
What do you have? Billy, you know what to do. Let's go.
I'm like really scared.
Say it, dude.
Getting nervous.
I think Emerson's gonna come to the game with me.
Oh,
I think Emerson's coming tonight.
All right.
Going to a baseball
Let's
game.
go.
Yeah. I think you're actually gonna show up this time.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hell yeah,
are
brother.
you excited?
I am excited.
All right. But let's
This
see.
is my official invite.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
your official invite.
I hope Meg's watching the show. Meg, Emerson's going to
Well,
the game
she likes
tonight.
Jared, so this
Yeah.
will be a yes.
Okay.
She knows I won't go too crazy on a Tuesday
All
night.
right, perfect. There you go.
Perfect.
All right.
It's big time.
All
It's
right,
our first game together.
we need to take a breather. So because we need to take a breather, and I'm hot and bothered right now.
Yeah.
David Ortiz visited the DK Studios
did,
last
yeah.
week. You had the pleasure of showing him around,
I did.
having a little bit of fun, sharing a few giggles. You had him on your podcast. Let's take a look at this 1-minute clip.
Ooh.
The mic on me?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Wow.
Come on in. Welcome to DraftKings. This is nice. Yeah, hot chocolate? Oh, yeah. Let me see like a king. I got the mojo going. Let's go. When I step on the chair,
That's
you know what they say, right?
What's that?
Let's do it. When I first got here and I find out that New England haven't won a World Series in 86 years, I got worried. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got worried. We're like 86 years? God damn, you guys suck. The fans need to know this. The more passionate that you get about your team and the more you support your team, the better chance you have of winning a World Series.
get closer, Tyler.
This is a nice office right here, man.
You guys are having a blast. What did he
Yeah.
whisper to you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
tell us.
What was that?
That's just that's
Just-
something between two Dominican brothers.
Guys being dudes?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were just talking about Santo Domingo, and yeah, we were just vibing.
Just
you know?
vibing. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Couple guys vibing.
It was fun. Obviously, we can tell just from that. Can you give us like a little tease for the pod?
Yeah, so we did some World Baseball Classic talk because I was interested to get his perspective when I think it's a very unique argument that we've exhausted to an extent. Does it matter? Does it not matter? People comparing it to the World Series. Is it more? Does it mean more? So I was like, this is interesting because David Ortiz, obviously, like me, from the Dominican Republic, but he's also won 3 World Series titles in Boston. So he knows what it's like to be at the top of the mountain in a big market, winning one of the 2 of the most meaningful championships in Boston sports history. How do they stack up? So I got it straight from the horse's mouth with David Ortiz because not only was he on those teams, but he was those teams.
And then the most recent Name Redacted podcast, you guys were diving into Adam Duvall's incredible weekend.
So
Yes.
You know what?
Talk to me.
You know what? I'm very excited for this. So on the last episode, I said, so we have it's called the Clark's Ketchup Series MVP.
Yes.
Clark's Ketchup is a fake company that we made up. It's not real ketchup company. So I said the Clark's Ketchup Series MVP needs a theme song. And my spirit is telling me that the Clark's Ketchup Series MVP theme song is death metal. So yesterday, on my birthday, that's what I did yesterday. I wrote and recorded the Clark's Ketchup Series MVP theme song, which is it's a death metal song. That's why I don't have a voice, because I was screaming.
Oh, so you're singing.
Oh my God! No, he's
Oh yeah,
screaming.
I did the vocals for yes, yep.
You play the instruments as well.
No, I went on YouTube and I just did like death metal instrumental, and then
Great.
there was like a
Screamed
20-minute
over.
video.
Yeah.
There was like a 20-minute video of like the death metal, and then I found like a 50-second snippet. I was like, all right, I can put some bars over this.
Hell yeah,
And then
brother.
I cut it up and I did the vocals, and then I laid over the audio tracks and.
Okay, so when do we get to hear that? Is that out now?
No. So the Red Sox need to win a series So we don't do the MVP unless the Red Sox win the series. So they have to win a series. We vote on the Clark's Ketchup Series MVP.
Okay.
And then we play the theme song.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet.
So the Red Sox need to win the next 2 games.
Yes, against the Pirates.
Correct.
And we'll be treated to that.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a banger. Like if we do a live show this summer, like I want the crowd to be singing the
Oh,
MVP
you're doing
song.
live shows.
Yeah.
Emerson's going to make it his ringtone.
It's worthy of it.
Yeah.
It really is.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, go check out. People can check out that full interview
Yes.
with David Ortiz.
It's on the YouTube.
Yep.
It is on the Name Redacted podcast, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast.
Wherever you get your pods.
All right,
go
dude.
listen. Jared, thank you for being here. We
thanks.
appreciate
Thanks,
it.
man.
Thank you.
On
Appreciate
this,
it, dude.
the
See
day
you
after
tonight.
your birthday.
Are
Yes.
you gonna pick
Yeah.
me up, or I'm just gonna meet you down there? Like I didn't know
Pick
if
you
this was-
up. You just said you live
I
like
know.
a mile from Fenway.
I know.
You need to get your steps in.
You're gonna get uninvited.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We'll be
I'm
right
hungry,
back. We'll be
too.
right back.
We're gonna eat some
Just
glizzies.
leave. Okay. Don't.
DraftKings, y'all got the most ways to bet on NBA players. I'm hyped. Hitting props, that's my dog. Stack up buckets, blocks, and boards on my boy? Or superstar going one-on-one against another superstar? Oh, it's on. And all these bets are on my man's dedicated page? Now you spoiling me, DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and bet $5 to win $150 in bonus bets on your team to win. Action so good, why bet anywhere else? That's my move. He used my move.
You know, betting without a game plan is a little like skating a giant ramp without helmet and pads. I wouldn't risk it. And I wouldn't bet without a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook provides you with tools to set a realistic budget and time limits, so you're ready to bet responsibly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook and Casino apps to learn more about how you can practice safe bets.
This season, DraftKings Sportsbook is your place to bet on the greatest sport on ice. There's so many ways to get closer to the game. And with this latest offer, you can win big. Now that is deserving of some victory stick taps.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the promo code, and take advantage of this great offer.
And get in on the action with an official sports betting partner of the NHL.
With DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports, you can play for millions with a lineup full of big NBA stars. Maybe you throw in a three-point specialist that's been around the league, seen a thing or two. You know, if you want. Download DraftKings and play for your share of millions. Action's so good, why play NBA anywhere else?
All right, San Diego State's Cinderella run came to a disgusting end last night when they got trounced by UConn 76-59. My God, DraftKings contributor Nick Fryer is here. The Huskies coming through. A lot of talk about like, oh, where do they rank amongst the blue bloods of NCAA men's basketball? What was your reaction to this game? Were you surprised it wasn't closer?
Well, I mean, I thought, coming off the rip, San Diego State put up a fight, and I was thinking, oh, okay, we're actually going to get a ball game, and that didn't end up being the case. I know they made it competitive a little bit later on, but in the end, UConn deserved it. They absolutely earned this. They almost set a record for point deficit in the NCAA tournament. One thing I got from fellow DK contributor Andy Silva before the show, 4 out of UConn's 5 tournament wins, national tournament wins, have come in Texas, which I didn't. That was one that I kind of missed, but I was surprised by that one. The one thing I do want to say though about San Diego State, so when Emerson was trying to figure out where he was on Saturday night, Big League and Jared, I was actually with him, and we actually witnessed somebody winning on a buzzer beater play on DraftKings Sportsbook, and it was actually San Diego State. So that was a nice little thrill that at least they gave us.
Oh, well, futures are already up for next year. So UConn sitting at plus 1,400 in the third spot behind Duke plus 1,000, Kentucky plus 1,200.
Yeah.
Can't find San Diego State on here.
They're way down there, way down.
I don't even know what number they would be. They're plus 8,000.
It was 8,000. Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I understand Duke being the favorite. It totally makes sense. How can you not respect them when they're getting Filipowski coming back and everything like that? But I want to go a little bit further down and go to plus 2,500, at least last I checked, Texas. is actually the player that I like right now. Rodney Terry, of course, not surprisingly made the full-time coach over at Texas after taking over an interim basis back in January, and then he goes and has an Elite Eight run. Clearly they needed somewhat of a change over there. Obviously they have a good recruiting class and everything, but it's still a similar voice. So I love what he's done over there, and I think going forward, how can I not trust him after on an interim basis he led this team on an Elite Eight run? So I want someone a little bit more in that middle range, not in that top tier.
All right, thank you, Nick. Let's jump into NBA now. All right, let's talk about tonight. So DFS and Sportsbook preview of the slate. Boston, Philly, big game. Everybody's got their eyes on this one. Let's dive into it from a DFS perspective. So what's a guy that you need to roster tonight from this game?
So obviously this is a little bit of a complicated game because Jaylen Brown is currently questionable and Robert Williams is also out. There is a guy who I think fits in both settings, whether or not Jaylen Brown plays. I'll get to him in a second. But if Jaylen Brown does not play, I really like Jason Tatum in this spot, 10.4K tonight. He's logged 50-plus DK fantasy points in 9 of the 12 games that Brown has missed this season. Derek White's another guy who's worth considering as well at 6K. But the guy who I think I like most, regardless of the scenario when it comes to Jaylen Brown, is Grant Williams at 4.4K. With no Time Lord, he should get more run in this game, and we're dealing with a back-to-back situation for the Celtics, of course, playing tomorrow as well against the Raptors. And he's been getting consistent work. They're going to need him with Embiid, and depending on how they're going to handle things with Horford too, they're going to need to lean on him tonight, Grant Williams, that is. And not last time, but he does have a season high against Philadelphia. His season high, rather, is 36 DK fantasy points.
All right, sportsbook side on this one. Philly, slight 2-point favorite tonight. How are you looking to bet this one? I mean, 4 games left in the regular season. Still a chance for some shakeup here in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I was trying to find the quarter total, see where the Celtics would land on that, but I didn't see that on DraftKings Sportsbook this morning. But I do still like them to win this game straight up because as much as Jaylen Brown, is out of this game, I mentioned before how Tatum has surpassed the 50 DK fantasy point mark in 9 of the 12 games that Jaylen Brown has missed. The Celtics have also won 9 of the 12 games that Jaylen Brown has missed this season. They have momentum going right now. So, look, and actually the game that Jaylen Brown busted his face was against the 76ers. He only played like 17, 18 minutes, something like that in that game, and they still managed to find out him. So if they know going into this game that they don't have him, I feel like they can still handle the 76ers.
All right, then we got the Wolves and Nets. This one's basically a pick 'em, really close. Timberwolves trying to stop a 3-game losing skid. What are you looking at in this one?
Yeah, again, well, so actually, I do have 2 plays on this one, but from a game perspective, I like the Timberwolves to win this one straight up. I know they're riding a 3-game losing streak. The Nets are riding a 3-game winning streak. But the thing that kind of stood out to me when I was looking at the Timberwolves was they only have 1 losing streak that's longer than 3 games this season. They do have a few where they've lost 3 games, but they do a pretty good job of stopping that at least, at 3 games. And also, Minnesota has one of the 10 best straight-up road records in the NBA. So it doesn't matter to me particularly if Cat plays or not tonight because I know he is questionable. On the other side, Mikal Bridges over 27.5 points. Since the start of February, the over on Bridges' points prop is 4-0 when his points prop has stayed the same game to game after the over is hit.
All right, looking at the board here, any other spreads that you like? Spurs, Suns have that massive 19.1.
Well, OKC, to me, +8 going against the Warriors is an interesting one. Obviously, the Warriors do very well at home, but with OKC, they haven't covered in 7 games. They're one of the best teams against the spread this season. They're supposed to have Shea tonight. Of course, if something happens where Shea doesn't play, then that would change things. But they're still 19-10-1 against the spread as road underdogs this season. One of the best records against the spread in that setting. And also, both of these teams are coming off a loss. The Warriors are 18-19-1 against the spread after a loss. OKC 22-17-1 against the spread after a loss. That's top 7 in the NBA.
Oh, okay. Well, Nick, before we let you go, back to DFS, looking at the full slate now. You got to pick someone who's the best value play on the board. Who are you going with? And
I know I talked about Grant Williams before, but looking over at the Spurs game, there are quite a few options because that injury report is a total mess coming into tonight. Trey Jones is an interesting one, 5.6K. He will be a popular play more than likely because he just had 50 DK fantasy points last time out. But the guy I really like is Keita Bates-Diop at 4.6K. I think he has the safest floor in this one, just shy of 5 times value last time out. And in 4 of the previous 5, he hovered right around 6x value.
All right, good stuff. Thank you for getting us ready for tonight's NBA slate. Now, someone is here to get us ready for tonight's 11-game main MLB slate. Emerson Latzia, he's standing by. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, dude, because we've got, what are we, 4 games, 5 games in, depending on which team you're talking about, into the Major League Baseball season, which we talked about earlier in the show with Jared Carrabis, Jesse Cofield. Some of the best starts on the board: Minnesota Twins and Tampa Bay Rays, Cleveland Guardians 4-1, Braves, Reds 3-1 right now. Got a couple teams out there still winless. Well, the Phillies 0-4, Seattle 1-4 right now. Going back to the Rays, their starters now have a 0.39 ERA through 4 games. That's absolutely ridiculous. Just the third team since earned runs became official whose starters had a sub-1 ERA. Unbelievable. Steve Buchanan, Gary and Thorne, join me here. Bukes, team right now who has the biggest surprise start of the season, whether it's good or bad. Where are you going?
I mean, look, we talked about this with the Rays, how I like this team to be the first one to make it to 10 wins. You were getting that at 9-1 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook because that schedule that they had in the month of April is just absolutely putrid. They're going to run over all these like sub 500 teams that they're facing. We mentioned the first time they're going to play a team over 500 is not for another 10 days. So for them to be off to this hot start really shouldn't be a surprise. I think the Twins, though, might be a surprise there. I think it's a good team, but I was worried about their pitching. But thus far, they've been able to overcome some of those pitching woes, I guess you can say, and just them and the Rays are the only undefeated teams left in Major League Baseball.
Garion, biggest surprise for me, your Blue Jays finally hitting their first home run of the season last night. Congratulations.
Thanks. Big moment for all of us. They almost took it away on review. That would have been heartbreaking. Yeah, look, it's been a weird start to the season. I think the Tampa stuff and the Minnesota stuff, sort of to Steve's point, not overly surprising. I mean, the Twins, I thought they were going to be pretty good this season in general, but they played the Royals. You should beat the Royals more times than not. So I think the Twins getting out to a 4-0 start, not shocking. I would say the Phillies, I know they had a really bad run of luck in spring training. Obviously, you lose some key pieces on top of the fact that Bryce Harper is just not going to be available for the first little bit here. Still, for them to go 0-4 after the money they spent this offseason, that's got to be really demoralizing. And Philadelphia fans care. So it's probably a little testy in the streets around the diamond right now in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Bukes, I know you're a Seattle guy. Biggest team you have the biggest concerns with. So is it Seattle or Philly? Which slow start is more concerning to you?
I think it has to be Philly.
Okay.
I think just, kind of like Gary's point there, the start that they've gotten off to with all the money that they spent is not a way you want to start the season. It's a very long season, obviously. We're only a couple days into April, but that's definitely not the start you want to get off to, especially when you have guys like Trey Turner in that lineup. So they need to right the ship fairly soon because that's a very, very tough division. Even though it doesn't feel like it now, you can't afford to go on these losing streaks if you want to come out of that division with the Mets and the Braves.
Buke, start me off here with covering the bases. 11 games on the slate tonight? DFS pitcher as we hit first base. Your favorite DFS pitcher tonight?
Yeah, this is probably the worst slate of pitching that we've seen so far this season, but there's a few guys up the top there. They're going to be wildly popular. We have a couple options over 10K, but right under that mark, really like Framber Valdez at 9,900 tonight going up against the Detroit Tigers. Last year, he absolutely dominated this Tigers team, and I don't see how that's going to be any different here this season. 15 innings pitched against that team last year, 15 strikeouts, 2 earned runs on 15 hits, averaging 29.3 DraftKings fantasy points. How did he average that? Well, one of those games was a complete game shutout against this lowly Tigers offense. If you look at this active Tigers offense going up against lefties, 299 WOBA and a 23.1% K rate against them. Valdez limits hard contact, induces a ton of ground balls at a rate of 67% last year. I don't expect much offense from the Tigers here, so give me Valdez just under that 10K mark.
Gary, what's your strategy tonight on the mound for DFS?
Yeah, if you want to say Framber's your number one, if you want to say Bieber's your number one, if you want to say Urias is your number one, I really can't have a problem with any of those three. I mean, heck, even if you want to say Scherzer's your number one, that's kind of hard to dispute as well. I think that group of 4 is so far and away the class of this particular slate. that you have to use one of them. I'm going to go with Julio Urias as my number one option. Colorado, 5-game sample we have so far this season, all games away from Coors Field, obviously, but they're striking out in 28.5% of their plate appearances so far. That is the third highest strikeout rate in the very small sample size we have. Urias looked really good in his first start of the season against the Diamondbacks. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, just 2 earned runs allowed. Threw 79 pitches in that game, so you have to figure he's good for 90 to 95 tonight if he really needs to go that far. Maybe doesn't present the exact same amount of upside as someone like a Max Scherzer does, but the floor, that stability, and the win expectancy here is really, really high. And if he can take advantage of this Rockies team that has been so swing and miss to start the season, I think there's some really, really nice upside here.
Gare Bear, second base. Who do you have atop your DFS hitting rankings?
So poor Dylan Dodd had a pretty good spring training. Probably felt like, man, I'm in a really good place with this Braves organization right now. I'm going to settle in, kind of work my way up the ladder. Sorry, man. Max Fried gets hurt on opening day. You've got to start against the St. Louis Cardinals, despite the fact you've only thrown 6 2/3 innings in your career above Double-A. Say what you will about Dodd and his potential. This is a bad spot. I mean, the Cardinals last season led the league in every single offensive category you could possibly imagine against southpaw pitching. They are going to destroy this kid, unfortunately. And Nolan Arenado is a massive part of that. He is underpriced at $4,900. In general, if you can get Arenado for less than 5K, do it. If you can get Arenado for less than 5K against a left-handed pitcher, do it. If you can get Arenado for less than 5K against a left-handed pitcher making his major league debut, you have to do it. 366 ISO within the split last season. I think he's my number one option by far.
Bukes, your top DFS hitter tonight.
Yeah, great points by Gary, and love that call there. We got to get some handsome into our lineup. Let's pull up that picture of Bo Bichette. Let's see how fast the people in the back can get that picture up of Bo Bichette. How could you not want this handsome face in your lineup tonight at 4,900, especially in this matchup against Royals starter? And I put that in parentheses, Chris Bubik. Look at that face. How he's flirting with us on the main screen here. I absolutely love it. Chris Bubik, I put that starter point in air quotes because this is somebody who is not even supposed to make the rotation, but an injury to Daniel Lynch has forced Bubik into this rotation, and that's not good news for him tonight against this Toronto Blue Jays team who, like you just mentioned, Emerson, all of a sudden is on a power streak because of that home run they hit last night. But if you look at the numbers that Bubik had last year, he was downright horrendous, posting a 5.58 ERA, a 4.78 FIP, and walking almost an average of 5 hitters per 9 inning. That's not on mistake. That's not getting unlucky. Right-handed bats tagging him for a 346 WOBA, 12 of the 18 home runs he allowed, and a 32% hard hit rate. You go up and down that Blue Jays lineup, even without Teoscar Hernandez, this lineup is going to smash Bubik here. I think this is also a good game to go over that total for the team, for the Blue Jays, which we'll talk about in a moment here. But yeah, Bo Bichette in the heart of that Blue Jays lineup going up against Bubik.
All right, to the hot corner we go. Third base, Bukes, DFS value.
Yeah, talk about value here. Derek Hall is 2,600 for the Phillies tonight. Should be batting cleanup. You're not really going to get hitters hitting cleanup under 3K, but that's likely what we're going to be getting here tonight. He's played that spot 3 of the 4 games that he's played thus far. The only time he wasn't batting cleanup is when he was going up against a lefty, but going up against the righty Domingo Germán, I think this is a good spot for Hall to provide some good value in your DFS lineup. Last year, Hall came up, really made an impact, fast 367 WOBA and a 137 WRC plus against righties. This is not a great matchup for Germán. Maybe this is where the Phillies team kind of starts to get back on track here, but in terms of value for DFS, it's really hard to pass up on Hall hitting cleanup tonight at 2,600.
All right, Gare Bear, who are you going with?
Yeah, so I think Steve made a great point about Chris Bubik. He's going to struggle tonight against the Jays, and I think a lot of people are going to be on this. I don't think it's like news to anybody. The Jays have the highest implied team total of any team on this slate tonight. So you might have to get a little creative if you want some differentiation, and I think one way to do that would be Dalton Varsho, who struggled immensely with left-handed pitching last season. So you're not thinking, oh, I've got to get this guy into a lineup against the first left-handed pitcher he's going to see this season. But at the same time, he's just $3,600. he's going to hit cleanup for this Jays team despite the left-on-left matchup. And Chris Bubik was worse against lefties somehow than he was against righties last year, and he was terrible against righties. Lefties hit 372 with a 611 slugging percentage off of Bubik in 2022. Like I said, Varsho's not someone who normally you would be rushing to throw into a lineup against a left-handed pitcher, but when that left-handed pitcher is Chris Bubik and he's just $3,600, I think this is the kind of night and the kind of environment where you want to do that.
All right, we're going to the DK Sportsbook as we head home here. We continue to cover the bases. Bukes, give me your favorite bet on the board tonight on this slate.
Yeah, I teased it earlier, something I learned in broadcasting school, so I've done that well. But the Blue
Great
Jays
job.
to go over 5.5 runs tonight at -120. This is a big number to go over. I totally understand that. But when you talk about how bad Bubik was last year, and like I mentioned, it wasn't because he was simply unlucky. It simply was just because he was struggling on the mound. The other part of this, too, he does not go deep into games. He only pitched at least 6 innings in 7 of the 27 starts that he made last year. So this is someone who usually goes 5 innings or less. And with how bad the Royals bullpen has looked already, that should mean good things for this Blue Jays team to go over that team total. It's a very small sample, but that Royals bullpen has already been hit hard. 15 2/3 innings for this team, 9 earned runs, 7 walks, and 3 home runs allowed by the Royals relievers thus far. So again, is it tough to get 6 runs? Of course, but I think this Blue Jays team can do that tonight to go over that 5.5 run total.
Gary, what's your favorite bet tonight, dude?
I'm looking back at that Cardinals-Braves game. I'm going to take the over 5 first 5. Yesterday we saw a slate where 13 of the 15 games went over. Only 1 of those 15 games went under the number. A big reason for that, I know a lot of people are saying like the new rules, et cetera, et cetera. How about just a bunch of 4 and 5s were pitching last night? Because that's the trip through the rotation we had. And that's a situation, again, that we have in this game between the Cardinals and the Braves. It's not just Dodd making his first MLB start. It's also Steven Matz taking the mound against the Atlanta Braves, who, by the way, by WOBA, yes, the Cardinals, the best team in baseball against left-handed pitching last season. The Braves were second. These two lineups crush lefties. And while Matz wasn't nearly as bad as his advanced numbers suggest he was last season, he still had an ERA over 5. So this is not someone who's exactly pitching the best baseball of his career coming into this start. So I think both these teams together should easily combine for more than 5 runs in the first 5 innings.
All right, Gary Bear, we've got time for extra bases, so hook me up with your favorite prop on the DK Sportsbook tonight.
I mean, this one makes me sick to my stomach, but we've talked a lot about the Blue Jays and their offense already in this game. We haven't talked about Yusei Kikuchi, who was the storyline of spring training. 31 strikeouts in 20 2/3 innings in the spring. You know, despite all his struggles last season, still struck out 11.1 batters per 9 innings in 2022. He strikes out guys. He gives up home runs too, but he does strike out guys. His K prop tonight is set at just 4.5. That seems way too low for someone with his strikeout potential. It was -110 20 minutes ago. It's already -115, so you know where the money's coming in on this. The Royals stink. They've struck out in a quarter of their plate appearances so far this season. Kikuchi might give up 7 earned runs, but while he's doing that, he'll strike out 5 Royals.
Bukes, hook me up, dude. Favorite prop tonight?
Yeah, a tip of the energy drink to Garen for going with something positive for Yusei Kikuchi here tonight. That's a brave man indeed. Give me O'Neal Cruz to go over 1.5 bases tonight at +110. Cruz has been hitting leadoff for the Pirates basically in all the games so far this season. He's gone over 1.5 bases in 3 of the 4 games that he's played, going up against Nick Pivetta of the Red Sox, who hasn't had good numbers across the board against lefties really all throughout his career, and especially here at Fenway Park. We already seen the power that O'Neal Cruz possesses. I think this is a good night for him to go over that number of 1.5 once again, and you're getting plus money on that on top of it. So give me Cruz over 1.5 bases.
All right, gentlemen, appreciate it. We still got a Masters preview coming up with Jeff Ulrich, but we are going to dive into tonight's NHL slate with Anna Dua right after this quick break.
Cool.
Boop.
All right, it's time to turn our attention to the NHL, where the Toronto Maple Leafs have punched their ticket to the playoffs, which is great. But as you can see here, they haven't had the best of luck in the playoffs, losing in the first round every year for the last 6 years, except in 2019/2020 when they lost in the qualifying round to the Blue Jackets. So, you know.
Maple Leafs fans live in a very specific hell
Yeah.
that no one else can even begin to comprehend. Not even like sad Lions fans
Talk about
here.
heartbreaking. Yeah.
Mets fans, yes,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Producer Matt, thank you very much
Well,
for that.
NHL.com's Anna Dua is here to talk about it. So we know the Lightning and Maple Leafs are going to meet in the playoffs. Who has the edge in this series? It certainly doesn't seem like it's the Maple Leafs.
I mean, guys, this is such a tough start to my Tuesday morning. I know you guys are hating on my hometown,
Sorry.
but it's true. The Maple Leafs have this playoff curse that they just can't get over. For me, it comes down to the goalies. Andrei Vasilevsky is a world-class goalie, even if he has faltered a bit this season, and Tampa has that going for him. We're not talking about the seasons that Braden Point has had and Nikita Kucherov have been having as well. They're among league leaders in points, assists, goals for Braden Point. It's crazy. This team is still stacked in Tampa, and Toronto, their goaltenders still have some questions in my mind. I hope they overcome it this year. Toronto needs that break finally, but I'm still going with Tampa.
Hold on a second. Didn't you say before this season, wasn't that your hot take that they would miss the playoffs, though, the Maple Leafs?
I did. And you know what? I'll say that the team proved me wrong, but my
Yes.
concerns still stand, guys, because it was all about the goalies for me. I wasn't sold on Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov. Toronto alleviated that by allowing some of the fewest shots on goal per league. They're among league leaders in that category. So the team has rallied. Their offense, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, up-leveled the defensive side to their game to really help them out and make the postseason. But, you know, it all starts fresh when you're in the playoffs, and the goalies
Yeah.
issue.
Keep telling yourself that the first round exit jokes on Twitter, like they write themselves, because after they lost to the Lightning in Game 7 of the first round last year, Anna, the Maple Leafs are the first team in the history of the NHL, MLB, and NBA to lose 5 straight elimination games in the first round. Like, you know a pain, again, like no other.
It's tough, to be honest. And they have great teams every year. That's what gets me, too, is they have world-class talent like Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, who I mentioned. William Nylander is having a crazy year. He's been on this team for quite some time, so they keep bringing in pieces. I remember when they brought in Tavares from the Islanders, and they were like, this is the year. So that seems to be the most commonly said sentence in Toronto, but maybe this will be the year. You never know.
Oh, my God.
So you're saying there's a chance. Okay.
It's a good thing Paul Bruno's not here this morning.
Let's
He'd be
transition
crying.
to a little bit easier here. Let's just talk about tonight's slate. We're going to go through position by position. So we're talking about world-class talent. You can get your dude Austin Matthews at center here. Are you paying up for him?
Yeah, honestly, I gave the Leafs too much love, so I'm going somewhere else.
Fair
For
enough.
center. I'm going with Dylan Larkin of the Detroit Red Wings, who had a hat trick against the Maple Leafs recently, just this past weekend, and he's on a 4-game point streak right now with 8 points in that span, 5 goals, 3 assists. He's a great player. The Red Wings have kind of, I guess they're at the beginning of the season, a lot of people didn't really know what to do with them. It seemed like they were having a good start, and a lot of their players were doing well. Maybe they could make the postseason. Now they're not going to make the postseason, but there's still talent on this team, and Dylan Larkin's definitely the front of that.
Okay, what's the move in the wings and things department here, Anna?
Now I'm going with teams that really want to punch their ticket into the postseason, and Tyler Toffoli of the Calgary Flames is going to be a big part of that. He's had points in 3 of his past 4 games with 6 points, 4 goals, and 2 assists in that span. He's a player I'm definitely watching on that man advantage. They're going to go guns a-blazing. They have to win tonight. They're playing the Chicago Blackhawks if they want to make the postseason, and they're going to be trying really hard right now.
All right, who do you like on the blue line, Anna?
I'm going with Aaron Ekblad of the Florida Panthers, another team. They're just 1 point behind the Pittsburgh Penguins for that second wild card spot in the East. And Ekblad's been a bit of a disappointment this season, but now he's had assists in 4 consecutive games. So I'm looking at him to get a point tonight. Florida needs to win this game. Buffalo, that's who they're playing, is also not out of contention. So I know Florida's more likely to punch their ticket into the postseason, but this is a big game for both of those teams.
How low down the board are you willing to go for your top value play tonight?
I'm not going like to the complete bottom, but I'm
Good.
taking a look at Eric Halla, who's at 3,700 tonight, which I think is a fair value because he's at points in 3 of his past 4 games with 4 points, 3 goals, 1 assist in that span. He's on the Devils, and the Devils can always put up points. He's been seeing some time with Timo Meier, so that's a really great lineup placement for him. They're going to be playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Devils are looking to bounce back. They were heating up really quickly. They want to get the #1 spot in the Metropolitan. It's a big deal this season more than ever, guys. I don't think anyone wants to play the New York Rangers in the first round, so the Devils are going to try to catch the Carolina Hurricanes.
Anna, thank you so much. You make it all make sense, and we've got our fingers crossed for you because we don't want you to be in pain. So we really hope the Maple Leafs can figure it out. We hope they can figure it out, but we don't have that much hope because recent form has shown us that they will lose in the first round.
Enjoy the rest of your day, Anna. You got about 10.6% of bettors on the DK Sportsbook who have their fingers crossed for Rory McIlroy. Look at that. He's got more than 10.5% of the money coming in to win the Masters. So trying to complete the career Grand Slam. Scotty Scheffler with the same odds. John Rahm, people are off him a little bit. It was just a few weeks ago. We were comparing his stats this season to the ridiculous year that Tiger Woods had. Speaking of which, DraftKings took a $1,500 bet on Tiger Woods to win at $7,500. So the payout there, $114,000. We can tell you from Jeff's comments yesterday, that bettor is not Jeff Ulrich. Because he does not have a whole lot of faith here in Tiger Woods, dude.
Yeah, you're not going to bet him to win, Jeff, right? But, is he in play at 7,300 for DFS lineups, perhaps?
Look, all my money is also locked up in Louis Oosthuizen and futures props, so I just don't have that kind of cash available. Look, DFS is a different story for Tiger. Do we want to be betting him in the outright market? Probably not. That's probably not the smartest allocation of your capital this week. But DFS is a different story, in my opinion. He's 7,300. I think you're going to have some players there that are going to be very concentrated in ownership. Mr. Patrick Reed is potentially at the top of that list, coming off a nice week on the Live. Obviously, a past champion as well. But Tiger Woods is also a past champion at Augusta. Tiger Woods is also a player who's just very good at getting onto the weekend in major championships. He's only 7,300. This is not necessarily what you'd call an overprice. He's the best player to potentially ever step on a golf course. It's not outlandish that if Tiger gets across the weekend, he puts in a decent Saturday or Sunday. So is he by far my favorite play this week, in this range? Not necessarily, but is he someone I would mix in to, say you were putting in multiple entries into a millionaire maker, maybe the $5 contest, maybe even like a quarter line. Yeah, I would mix Tiger in. I really would. We have seen his record at Augusta. A lot of what's going to happen this week may even be like draw biased if Tiger ends up on the right side of the draw. So I think Tiger's got a shot to at least put up a decent DFS week for sure. And I think you consider him when you're making some multiple entry lineups.
All right, dude, so what about make, miss, cut here? So he's minus 200 to make the cut. You got thoughts on that or any other Tiger bets here? And also tell me, I think the course is going to be a little soggy, right? I mean, how that could benefit Tiger Woods.
So, yeah, I mean, this is like a complete, we're used to getting Tiger in here and no one really giving him a chance and, getting like plus money on him to make the cut. That's not the case this year. We've kind of seen, the sportsbooks obviously taking a note that Tiger is making cuts in these majors despite only playing on one leg. And now we're have to pay minus 200 for him to make the cut. I personally just think you should just stay off this. I definitely do not want to go out there and bet against Tiger to miss the cut. What he showed at Riviera coming in with zero prep was actually pretty impressive. He certainly played well on the first couple days. And I think that's something to take note of too. What we've seen from Tiger in majors, especially at Augusta, usually gets off to good starts. Where I would look for a Tiger prop this week, round 1, over 3.5 birdies, plus 105. Thursday is expected to be one of the nicer days. A little bit overcast, but not too much wind. A little bit of wind, but no rain, nothing crazy. The crazy weather starts, it looks like, Friday and Saturday. That first round, over 3.5 birdies for Tiger. Again, we have 4 scoreable par 5s. We know Tiger Woods knows his way around the course better than anyone. I think there's a very legit shot you see Tiger Woods go over this 3.5 birdie mark. He's probably going to make some bogeys as well because he's a little rusty, but the birdies all we're concerned about. I like this one. We're getting plus 105. Give me over Tiger, 3.5 birdies for round 1.
Jeff, you can go in on the DK Sportsbook here and go to these matchup props. So which ones do you have your eye on here?
I got a few for you here. Let's start off by talking about my guy Tony Finau, minus 110. They got matched up against Xander Schauffele. Look, Schauffele's a great all-around player. I think the conditions this week are just going to be better for Tony Finau from a tournament matchup perspective. I think Finau's just been the more consistent player. We saw Xander come into Florida, not really put together a couple great finishes there at Bay Hill and the Players. That's not really what you want necessarily. Didn't have the greatest finish there. I'll take Finau in this matchup, especially with the conditions. Another one going down the board, Tommy Fleetwood at plus 115 against Matthew Fitzpatrick. Again, tail of the tape here with these two players. Fleetwood at the Valspar gaining, over 8 strokes tee to green. Fitzpatrick had an absolutely brutal outing there. He's dealt with neck injuries. The fact you're getting plus money on Tommy Fleetwood in a tournament matchup here, I really, really like that one. And then going down the board one more, you know what? I'm going to take a shot here with Corey Connors going up against Will Zalatoris, two guys who have really dominated Augusta. But Zalatoris, injury concerns at the match play. His putting stroke has looked worse somehow this season. I know he's dominated Augusta, but man, I do not want to go up against Corey Connors right now either. So Connors really consistent. I take him at minus 110.
Finau finishing T10 or better in 3 of his last 5 Masters starts, which takes me to my next question for you here, Jeff. DK also has golfer parlays available here, combining any 3 golfers to finish in the top 10, or top 20. So which bet do you like in this category?
Oh boy, I mean, we could just spend the whole show just talking about the parlays available here in the top 10 and the top 20 and just the specialty markets here. Let's start off. Let's go low to high here. Let's start with one at plus 400. Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay, Tony Finau, top 20. I mean, look, Patrick Cantlay is playing really, really solid tee to green golf. Even if he just hits the ball like he does and his putter doesn't show up, he's probably going to finish in the top 20. Jordan Spieth, we know his course history here at Augusta. He's got the best scoring record of anyone in this field, best scoring average of anyone in this field who's played 30 or more rounds. Tony Finau, I just finished talking about, that's plus 400. You can go a little bit higher, though, take on a little bit more risk in that in that top 20 market. Tony Finau, Brooks Koepka, and Tommy Fleetwood. Same market, top 20, plus 1,000 for those 3 guys. I really like it. Brooks coming in here with something to prove after winning last week on LIV. Tommy Fleetwood, I just finished talking about. He's been playing great over his last couple starts, and Finau as well. And if you want the real money here, Emerson, you go to the specialty parlays here. Tony Finau, top 5. Brooks Koepka, top 10. And Tommy Fleetwood, top 20. That's going to pay plus 6,000.
Damn.
I like that one. I like those 3 players. Koepka, Finau, Fleetwood, and I think all 3 of them have a shot to finish inside the top 20. So we just need a big week from Finau really to complete that one.
All right, Jeff, we have another good one that you can bet on. Top debutant, the top deb of the ball. So highest finisher by a guy making his Masters debut. Tom Kim has the best odds at plus 300. Do you like him or somebody else?
The debutant, you know what? The Tom Kim caravan or train or whatever, it stopped.
It's done. It's off the tracks.
I'm done with this guy. My guy here is Sahith Theegala. I am really excited to see what he does at this course, and I do really like him in this market this week. Plus 550 on the DraftKings Sportsbook. What have we seen from Theegala? He has handled some tough golf courses extremely well to date. Riviera top 10, Torrey Pines top 10. He gained over 8 strokes tee to green at both of those courses. You look back at Theegala's history, people are going to play, wow, what was he doing at the Players? You know what? It's TPC Sawgrass. Even Tiger had a bad start there coming into 2019 when he won the Masters. I'm not picking Theegala to win, but this is the type of player who's very, very confident on approach. He's got a very creative around the green game. I kind of compare his game to Jordan Spieth, and that's why I'm so kind of excited to see what he does at Augusta, because I think he's going to like it here, and I really like him for this category. Underrated player still. I don't think people are really talking about him at all this week, and I will take him over Tom Kim in this category. I'll take him over everyone. Plus 550. That's my target for the top debutant this week.
Dude, one more for you. few other ways to bet the Masters on the DK Sportsbook. So we're getting weird. You got nationality props, you got round specials, top lefty, by the way, which 2 of the 4 available to bet on, Bubba Watson, Phil Mickelson. Dive deep into the book for us right now, Jeff. What else catches your eye?
Yeah, I mean, look, we got top senior. We've got make to miss the cut parlays, nationality. Again, if we're looking for amateur players, again, Gordon Sargent is someone you could look at. But for nationality props, I like going to the Englishman, and I like going to Tommy Fleetwood at plus 300. Terrell Hatton, I think is a player who just, I'm not sure what's going on with him, quite frankly. Missed the cut last week, had a hand-ish issue at the match play, and Matthew Fitzpatrick just has not looked straight all season. I think there's good value on Fleetwood at plus 300. I really think like Justin Rose may be the person he has to deal with here. So I like going there for a nationality prop. I also think you could look at him if you just go like to top European as well, potentially take him at longer odds. So Fleetwood's someone to target there in the nationality props for sure. And then, again, like if you're able to find a market on, top amateur, Gordon Sargent is a player who I think that should finish in the top in that category. So, Fleetwood, really good for those Englishmen and European props from me. That's a player I'm targeting heavily this week.
Jeff, we love it. Thank you so much.
Jeff.
We appreciate you taking the time. That's going to be a show for us, but
we have a Masters special tomorrow. That's going to be incredible, which, by the way, you could bet for another fun prop to bet on the DK Sportsbook, whether it be a hole-in-one or not, which Sepp Straka yesterday had the first hole-in-one of the week. Yes, at a practice round, but he will join us on our Masters special show here tomorrow morning. It's going to be epic and delicious.
Tune in at 11 a.m. We'll see you then.
Okay. All right.